Hey everyone, ALine Mask here. I just want to let you know this is basically a trigger warning for this podcast today. In this podcast, I'll be interviewing with Wild, the founder of the Wild Syndicate. And this podcast, we do talk about primal darkness, that vegan teacher, and pedophilia. So if you get triggered by any of those things, this is just like a heads up. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the show. You.
Not doing too bad, not doing too bad.
All right, great. I really appreciate you coming by. I'm really excited to do this podcast with you. You are my third person of doing this episode. Unfortunately, I still haven't even uploaded the first video with Red Grinner. I'm actually working on that right now, so as soon as I'm done with you, I'll be able to post that. Everything should be going smoothly, but I'm getting all my shit together right now, actually, too.
That's awesome, man. Sounds good. So how have you been?
I've been doing really good. Just recently moved. I unpacked everything, got everything set up. Hopefully I'll be doing some videos really soon. And how about you? How's everything going at your end?
Not too bad. I got a lot going on the day-to-day life, but I finally got back into cosplaying actually last night. So because I healed up enough to get back into it. So.
Right. I was actually going through some of your videos just so I can get a few questions for you in. And I just saw that you recently made a new character. What's his name? Morse? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. So it translates to gesture of death.
So how do you say it?
It's pronounced Morse, but it actually means gesture of death. It's translated from Latin.
Okay. And what made you decide to create this character?
So all my characters were based off of like a part of myself, I guess you could say, like a part of myself that I can't really physically push out there on the day to day, and it lets me release that side of myself, I guess, in a more controlled manner. So, like, Moors is my aggression, I guess. Moors fills the space of like. So you know how there's the 7 deadly sins, right?
Right.
So Moors is a creation based off of my perception of 4 of the 7 deadly sins. And that is greed, pride, wrath, and lust. So he embodies those 4 traits alongside like any aggression that I have.
Right. And here's the one question I always try to ask every time I have a guest here is I notice, and this is like coming from me too, that whenever somebody makes an OC, they always throw a little of themselves as a cherry on top. Would you say you threw a little of yourself into this character?
Very much so. Like I said, my OCs tend to represent the parts of myself that are more or less in day-to-day society you can't really represent as well, because by general like aptitude I tend to be I have older thoughts like and values on certain things. I'm not, I'm 20, about to turn 28, but I've always looked at things from an older perspective, I guess, on things.
Right.
And that lets me kind of understand myself a little bit better than I think I would otherwise by presenting them through my OC.
Right. And when did you start doing TikTok videos?
It's actually been, hey dear. We've been about a year and 2 months now.
A year and 2 months? Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
I think this is I actually been doing TikTok for almost 2 years now. So it's always interesting to find out when people started it and what was your motivation of doing TikTok videos.
So, to be honest, I was in a really bad situation in my personal life. I had been at the breaking point, the edge of my former marriage, and I needed to release stress and buildup that I couldn't release on my day-to-day because I was in a pretty bad situation. I was dealing with a lot of abusive nonsense, but it gave me my freedom to be myself and give me a feeling of actually being able to do something I really wanted for myself instead of everything at that point, which really, I wasn't really doing anything for myself personally. It was always everyone around me and everything around me, so it helped free me, I guess, in a weird way from a lot of the stress I had built up.
Right. I mean, it turns out when people make videos, that's what mostly they use TikTok for, is to like release stress. It builds up self-confidence, because to be honest, before TikTok, I actually wanted to make YouTube videos, but every time I would record myself, the number one thing I hated was hearing my own voice. I mean, even still now, I kind of hate hearing my own voice, but back then, I always tell myself, God, why do I sound like a fucking broken robot? I'm not gonna do this shit. But after doing some TikTok videos, I start putting my real voice into my videos, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't sound that bad. I mean, I still do, but I don't sound as bad as I thought I do. So it actually does build up confidence in people, and it does release stress. People have lost their depression, due to this app, and that's the one thing I like about TikTok. But it is kind of like stressful when you get shadow banned, videos get taken down for stupid reasons, when you clearly will see other people actually breaking community guidelines, and you're just sitting there like, I'm not even doing anything at all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how they utilize their community guidelines a lot of times. It really is, sadly. Nah. The amount of people who get Thanos for absolutely no reason is sometimes pretty appalling.
Right. Have you heard of that TikToker named Primal Darkness? I think that's his name right now.
Yeah, I actually helped out pushing to get him back the night he got Thanos. So I was helping a friend of mine push to get him back. Yeah, it's crazy. 4.3 million followers lost because someone wants to get butt hurt, basically.
So, like, is that like the situation? Like, somebody just didn't like him, or like? Because...
From my perception, it's either it was someone who just had a issue with him personally, or it was a troll. Which I think we've all had issues with trolls on this app at times.
Right.
But that's normally the primary two opinions I would have in regards to why it happened. Someone either had an issue with something he said or did, or it was just a troll. Sadly.
Right. Mm-hmm. But, to be honest, here's the thing I think about trolls. I kind of welcome trolls into my life, whether it's my personal life, through TikTok, through whatever. And the reason why I say this is because you have to reach a certain level of confidence, fame, or something good in order to start getting trolled on. Like, if you're a good person, you make great videos, and you got somebody hating on you, that means you're doing something good. You have something that these people do not have, and they want to take you down for that.
I absolutely agree with that, man. I would absolutely agree. Like I said, I only utilize it because they're one of the two reasons, in my opinion, most of the time people get Thanos. But, like, realistically, you're right. And I mean, there's the concept of, even negative attention's good attention.
Right.
It's still attention. It still gets yourself out there. So, yeah, I definitely relate to that.
That's what I mean. I was like, I'm still waiting for my bully. Like, I'm seeing all these creators who are getting bullied saying how much, like, oh, you've gotten fat, or oh, your videos have gotten lame, or, they always have something bad, just to try to get under your skin. But I kind of look at it as this person actually just wants your attention. And a lot of people have says that, but it's just like for example, let's say I'm scrolling through TikTok, I see a video that I didn't find entertaining, I didn't really like. So what do? Just keep scrolling. I don't say something bad, because why would I say something bad when, I just don't like their videos?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a waste of energy to do that. To be honest, like I feel a lot the same way. Like it's one thing to have an opinion, okay? Mind you, like, there's other apps out there that have been built up recently that they're trying to, like, so an example is like Clapper has like the dislike button, and I've seen when I was kind of checking that out that freaking people made a big deal about that, and I'm like, why are you making a big deal about that? At least all they have to do there is just put a button, just be like, okay, I wasn't happy with this content. They don't have to sit there and rip into you. Like, like take it with a grain of salt. Not everyone's going to like what you push out. That's the way of life. Like, we all have our own opinions. And, like, I actually think that a dislike button wouldn't even be a bad idea on TikTok, just because it would minimize people who feel like they have to open their mouth to berate someone. Really, because then they can just be like, oh, I dislike. But I mean, then you'd always have the ones who freaking would do it and then still comment. But a lot of people wouldn't go through as much effort if they had an option just to be like, I don't like this,
Right. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, I think in a way they actually do like your video, because sure, they can comment on your video saying, I hate you. Now, does that take like 3 seconds to type? Sure. But it's like they put 3 seconds of their life just to comment on that. And it's like...
And it still looks the algorithm.
So it's like, in a way, these people do care about your videos, or they do like your videos. They just want to be an asshole about it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Now, one of the questions I kind of ask people is... the whole shadow banning, such as when somebody likes your videos 10 times in a row within like 5 seconds, it gets your videos banned. Do you believe that?
I'm kind of a middle ground on that subject. I imagine there would be an effect on it, because there is a ratio, like, of comments to likes, whatever. I would imagine there's that if someone spams your page with like 100 likes, no comments, there would be something that might put a twist in the algorithm. But like on a more minimized level, like some people get mad at like 10, 15 videos being liked. Like sometimes people just scroll through For You page and just see friends they like, or you know what I mean, several times in a row, and they just like the videos because they're kind of in a rush or they're doing something at the moment and they just like it. So I'm kind of a middle ground. I don't 100% think it's as bad as pushed out to be, but at the same time, I have a little bit different perspective on it. I'm not necessarily caring about numbers here. What I've made plenty of friends much larger than I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
Huh? You being one of them. You know what I mean? Like, I have plenty of friends who are like even up into 700K. You know, like I don't feel so pressured to be like, oh, you need numbers. Why when I can, call a friend with freaking 500K, 700K into a live? That's still freaking way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care so much about the numbers. I care about the friendships and the, people I meet along the way who freaking, we're there for each other. We help each other. You make new connections and you network.
Right.
TikTok's a really good app for networking too.
Right. I just think it's the whole freaking social media addiction thing. Like you ain't popular or you ain't cool just because you don't have a certain number of followers or a certain number of likes. And but it's like, but is this really gonna help me in life? If me having 3 million likes in one video gonna put food in my fridge, a roof over my head, a bed to sleep on, or is my job to pay for all that?
It's still your job to pay for all that, just like all of us. In my opinion, you'd be absolutely right on that. I don't. I mean, I give or take, you got people who go about the smart way. They copyright, their shit, and in that aspect, they can start making more money than you
Right.
would otherwise, and they can cap themselves out at a decent. I mean, just like YouTube, there's YouTubers who make enough to freaking buy a house or a brand new car. It
Or like,
does happen,
or like
but
mansions and stuff like that.
yeah. So like I mean, it happens, but here's the thing: like, how do you think these people got there? And it's not by them being unintelligent. They learned how to use the system to their benefit. I mean, you can be mad at them all you want because you're not in the position at the moment. But like, what's the point in that? Why don't you pay
Right.
attention and learn? Pay attention to what they're doing because it
Right.
works, obviously.
But like, here's like one of the things that I kind of think about. Like, let's just say I become a big hit on TikTok or YouTube to the point where I'm starting to receive money. I would still get a regular job because whenever I watch YouTube videos or people on TikTok who are actually getting paid by TikTok, it's like, yeah, they look like they're having fun, they're being entertaining, all this other stuff. But here's the tricky part: you literally are, what's the word? Basically, you're asking like random people to give you money. Like, you're asking hundreds of people to give you money. So you basically have like hundreds of bosses instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
you could literally do any fucked up shit, and all of a sudden it's gone. Everything's gone. Your fans, your money, everything's gone just because you decided to do one fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. It's not permanent. It's not something that you can guarantee will ever be a permanent source of income or source of livelihood, because it could even not be something. I mean, literally, you could have someone not like you and just start a rumor, and it could be completely false, but it doesn't matter because if that person's got any, pull at all, it's still gonna get out there, and rumors spread. Whether they're
Right.
accurate or not, it doesn't matter. It's still gonna have effect.
And like for people for OnlyFans, like to be honest, I'm thinking of doing an OnlyFans, but I just don't really have the time or what to do with it. I mean, I have thoughts here and there, but it's like, do I really have the time to do this kind of shit? But I've seen like people will make like thousands of dollars, like over $50,000 a month, just because of OnlyFans. But here's the thing. I forgot. There was this girl on Twitch. She used to make thousands of dollars too, but when the pandemic hit, a lot of people started unsubscribing her, or they stopped giving her money because people were losing their jobs, business were closing. So it's like every freaking penny counts at this point. So when they stopped giving her money, she freaked out. She was like, I don't understand how you people could be watching me on Twitch when you're not giving me money. You should be giving me money in order for me to still do Twitch. It's kind of ridiculous and irresponsible for you people not giving me money. And I'm just like, are you fucking serious? She's fucking serious, isn't she?
Yeah, it's crazy how people can get. They get too full of themselves and they think they're owed the world. To be honest.
And that's what I said earlier when I'm like, even if I become a big hit on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, whatever, I would still have a regular job just because, something like the pandemic, or I could say something fucked up and everyone just completely hates me and I'm just like, what am I going to do now?
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, no one knows the future and what the next day will even bring. So, like, to put all your eggs in one basket, it's kind of asking for trouble. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I definitely agree with that.
It's just really funny how life really works, especially when you have to rely on thousands of people giving you money, and then once they stop, it's like you think you own these people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Uh,
rewinding a few steps because we kind of got a little off track. So the Wild Syndicate, I'm actually going through your profile right now, and it says that you're the founder. Is that correct?
yes,
Now, what made
yes.
you create the Wild Syndicate?
I wanted to create a family that would be available to anyone who really was seeking it. You know, and for to be honest, we've done really well since we started. Within the server, we have a little over 100 people in the server, and we got another 60 or 70 people who just don't do Discord, so they stay out of the server, but they still rock the hashtag. It's a place to gain a family, really, which for me was important because I didn't have that great of a situation in family life, so I always wanted a big family anyway, and it just worked out really well. We help each other, we do right by each other, and in the whole time we've had Wild Syndicate, which is going on, I believe, 7.5 months at this point, we have literally made more true friends and people who have proven themselves, as really good people than I'd ever have in my day-to-day life. And like I said, we help each other. We do right by each other. We support each other. We like each other's videos if we see them on the For You page. And we try to just boost anyone we can. In the whole history of having Wild Syndicate, we've literally only kicked out 11 people. And in that freaking whole history, we brought 3 of them back after they, realized what was up. It's not like something that we really even want to have to do by any means. It's just if there's ever a situation that calls for it, it happens.
Right.
But like for having almost 200 members and being gone for almost a year and only have to really take 11 people out the server, and even then 3 of those were still allowed to use the hashtag. There couldn't be any more issues with the server, and 3 of them we brought back after they figured out what was up, and the rest of them, well, they never learned or recognized what they had done, so it is what it is. Not everyone, it happens. Can't expect everyone to be around forever. But the ones who are meant to be will be. That's kind of how I look at it.
Right. Because I know on Discord I'm hardly on there, but it's just I'm just kind of constantly busy, and here's the one thing I don't really like about the celebrity is they have time to do things. For example, social media. Whenever they do one thing, they could actually post it on all kinds of social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Discord. And it's that is so much social media. I can't even keep up with this nowadays. But I do
Right.
try to jump in Discord, just to say hi everyone. But it's just like I said, I'm just so busy because most of the time I'm working 6 days a week. There are even times where I'm working 7 days a week. But it's I do try to jump in to see if I can help people, or just to say hey, just so it's hey guys, I'm still here. But I know some people on Discord, they're like, who the hell is this guy?
Right, absolutely. And trust me, we understand that. we mind you, we created Wild Syndicate while COVID was still going strong. So it's not unexpected that as over time people have like been able to be less active within the server. You know, it's not hurting our feelings for that. We understand that life, you know, takes priority. We're just always here if y'all need us. You know what I mean? Or if anyone needs support. That's really it.
Right. And what was that question I was about to ask you? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Okay. Okay. So how do you decide who's in and who's out of the syndicate?
So really, it's just some really easy to achieve, you know, things. You have to have content. As if you don't have content, then how do we know, you know, you're not just a lurker? And there's plenty of bots on TikTok. So, I mean, you can never know that. As long as you have content, then you're welcome in. And as long as you can, you know, support everyone around you, then there's really no problem. We're not really that picky so much as we just want you to push out some content and do something with the app. Let it do something positive for you, you know what I mean? So
right.
that's really it. For the most part, if you're invited, it's either we've talked to you on a personal basis and sat there and we looked at your content, we thought it was, you know, it was good, or we, you know, that freaking it was slowly improving, and we just want to keep building that. If obviously we have a policy like it's 18 or older, there's no one younger than 18 in the server. We did create a youth variant that's run by my fiance Wild Heart, her son, my stepson. It's run by him, but for the primary Wild Syndicate server, the only real thing is you need to have content. You need to be over 18, and show that, you know, through your content that you're actually trying to do something with it, really.
Right. Because the way I found you guys was actually through Red Grinner, because, you know, he put like hashtag Wild Syndicate, and I was talking to him about, like, oh, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's a group that I'm in, and he was like asking me, do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah, sure. And honestly, I didn't really think I was gonna be in it, because I didn't really think that, you know, how do I say this without, you know, being an asshole about it? I thought it was like, you know, one of those groups like, oh, you gotta have a certain amount of followers, certain amount of likes, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, like, you know, just being like one of those picky assholes about whatever.
Yeah, that's not it at all. It's just literally above 18. You know, you have to reach out to us, or if we see your content, we like it, you know, we'll pop the question and see if you are interested. But friggin', it's really not anything like that. It's not about numbers. It's just about a family. It's meant to be a place where people can have a home from home and have support if they need it.
Right. And so as I was going through your profile, you know, just to watch some videos, I see that you did a stitch with that vegan teacher.
I was done.
So,
Yep.
So what is your thoughts about her?
Okay, here's my thing. I don't have a problem with you being vegan. I don't have a problem. That, you know, personal choice is really important to me. But just from her content, all she does is she's one of the ones who shoves that content down someone's throat and then acts like it's a bad thing if you don't listen to her. So like, it's just like that's too much in my eyes. It's like, how are you gonna sit there? It's cool that you're vegan. Good for you. But don't. And if you want to post content about freaking being happy about being a vegan, go right ahead. But I've stumbled across accounts for like where she had changed her name to like something history teacher, and like the history that she taught is completely inaccurate. So like false information and like freaking all that, it's just unnecessary. And
Right.
so yeah, in that video, I was a little bit harsh, and I admit that. But it's like, come on, sometimes you need a reality check.
Right. Well, honestly, I don't really consider that harsh, but because here's my thoughts about that vegan teacher. When people were saying like, "Oh, she's a bully," or "Oh, she's a troll," like she's like forcing people to be vegan. Like honestly, when I started watching her videos, I thought she was funny because
Hmm.
I'm like, there's no way in hell anyone's gonna take her serious. Look at her, she's fucking ridiculous. The shit that she's saying. And like, there's this one video when she's like, "Oh, if you eat ice cream, you basically paid someone to rape that cow." I was like, who the fuck says that?
Oh man, no man, it's just the stuff that is said is just so friggin' utterly out there, man. It's so out there. Some of the stuff he freaking says. I don't understand how. Like, yeah, sometimes I consider her one of those basher accounts. Like, she made herself to be bashed because she's using that whole even negative attention is good attention concept. Like, there's a few other creators on the app who use that, and I call them basher accounts. So basically, you're using that negative attention as good attention to its fullest extent, and you're just going at it with intent to get people to hate you because it still boosts your numbers.
But it does actually work in a way because here's like some of the things I noticed when whether it's become TikTok, YouTube, whatever, is
Hmm.
that when you're a negative person or you're an asshole or whatever, you will actually get more followers, subscribers, likes, whatever, than you would as a positive person.
Hmm. That's the sad truth of the matter. Yeah, it's very true.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I saw her videos, I'm just thinking like she's not real. I mean, I believe that she's vegan, but come on, the shit that she's saying, this ain't real. She's just doing it for the attention, and y'all are actually giving it to her.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I get that. And I do. That video was just like that was after. I think what I thought at that moment is I had just watched her get like Thanos for like the fourth or fifth time, and I'm like you're not even gaining the growth you gained before. Now your whole concept is failing. Just go somewhere else. Just try somewhere else so that you might get your attention back. Like there's a point where you got to figure out a new trope. You know what I mean?
Right.
Eventually, it just gets freaking boring to see on the sub, and then even blocking her doesn't work because she creates a bunch of random accounts.
And there's actually this kid. I did a couple of stitches on him. He's basically trying to be like exactly like that vegan teacher because the shit that comes out of his mouth, it's just ridiculous. One of my favorite stitches I did with him was he said, if you're not vegan, then you're worse than that vegan teacher. Because even though she said predatory things to a minor, your action is
Mhm.
predatory. And I'm just thinking, wait a minute. So what you're saying is you would rather have old vegan child predators than meat eaters.
Yeah. It's been ridiculous, man.
And honestly, I kind of want to do an interview with him, but I think he's just a fucking coward.
Oh, I would most definitely agree, bro. He ain't gonna respond because put in a public setting and put there and forced to debate his ideals, he would break down in a heartbeat. The pressure, it's easy to ignore the pressure if your whole point is to get people to hate you and freaking give you likes just so because they hate you so much. But like freaking, it's another thing when you're freaking stating shit like that. Like, yeah, that's basically acceptance of freaking pedophilia, the way he freaking worded that. So like, okay, well, let me freaking tear that freaking whole concept down around your ears for you for a minute. No, he ain't gonna freaking let someone do that. He, like you said, that's a coward's freaking act.
It, but it's just like it's so interesting, like the way these vegans are coming up with ideas like, oh, animals are being raped because you're eating their meat, or you know this, you know that, but it's like not really. You make it sound like they're tortured or they're beaten to death when they actually, get clean, quick, painless death. I mean,
Hmm.
granted, yeah, we are basically forcing them to have sex in order to eat the meat, but the way they kind of word it, it's like it's going a little too far.
Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, here's the thing though. This was domesticated animals were domesticated long ago and for a reason. They're a food source. Whether you want to be mad about that or not, they're bred at such an extent that there isn't. It's not like they're going to go extinct. It doesn't really matter how many freaking cows get eaten. They're still going to be bred because not only are they used for food, cooking, they're used for grazing. They're used for multiple different freaking reasons. And but even leather, like cow leather, is used. Like it's used for the things we use on a daily basis.
Right.
Most people who make such a big deal about it, in my opinion, they're just looking for something to cause a shitstorm, whether it's actually a valid point or not.
I mean, I I think it was like, okay, if you're trying to make people be vegan, just try to go at it the right way. Don't try to like shove it down people's throats or be like, oh, you're worse than Hitler if you eat meat. And it's like, not really, because I'd rather eat meat than cause a mass murder scene.
Right?
But it's
Absolutely.
But like, if they go around and be like, "Hey guys, being vegan is much better because you can eat healthier, you live longer, you have less of a chance of having a heart attack." Like, if you say shit like that, it's like, okay, you know what? There's a chance you could turn somebody vegan because you're showing them the good things about it. But if you're just running around and be like, "Oh, you're fucking bad, you're worse than all these people,"
Yeah, but like in my eyes, yeah, it would be even better to give both the positives and the negatives, because then it gives each and every person who sees your content that you're trying to push, both sides of the equation. I mean, of course, super freaking hyped up people who are pushing one thing or another, they don't ever think to put both sides of the story. They're only trying to put out there what in their mind is a good thing. If you put out both, it's in human nature to make a choice. But if you're giving them one side of the story, then they're just gonna you're making them have an uninformed decision. And if you have an uninformed decision, then you don't even know what you're getting into. Like, I mean, yeah, like you said, those things, those can be healthier parts about it. But like, there's a difference between being vegan and being a vegetarian. Vegetarians can still eat certain types of like fish and chicken or whatever, and like protein. And like personally, if I were to become anything of that nature, I'd probably just be vegetarian because you still need the proteins, and whether they want to say or not, you don't get the levels of protein that the same levels that you would get if you consume some type of either fish or chicken or some type of meat. You know what I mean? Even if it's that if anything, I'd say vegetarian is probably the most healthy if you're really being honest. Vegan, when you get to vegan, then you have to worry about, well, now you're getting almost none of those nutrients. You can sit there, you can sit there and push, and that idea that, oh, well, this is good, but you never ever hear any of these guys say any of the negative health effects of only eating vegetables by themselves. No added value. It could be better for your heart, but it's not going to give you the nutrients you need for everything else going on in your body.
right? But I don't know. It's just there's always like right ways to do things, and there's I just want attention ways to do things.
Absolutely, dude.
And so like I don't know, like earlier when I was telling you how like if I become a big hit on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and I end up saying something stupid and people cancel me for it. Here's like some of the things I don't like cancel culture. Nowadays we have fucking cancel culture, and at first it was actually a good thing. Like people will actually talk about things nowadays, be like, "Oh, did you know this person, said some racial shit to this other person like 2 days ago?" Or this person just did this right now. It's like, okay, you know what? That's a good thing. But here's the one thing I just don't like about cancel culture. They bring up shit that happened years ago. Like they'll be like,
an example of that would be the Eminem cancel freaking culture trend. Oh, he said all this stuff about his mom, and he freaking did all this in his raps. Oh my God, that happened like freaking 10 years ago. His music has completely changed direction, to be honest. Like, you're trying to cancel someone who has already changed what you're freaking asking them to change. That's, like, ridiculous.
right? That's what I just don't get about these cancel. I just think because they have nothing else to cancel, they'd be like, all right, let's bring up shit that happened years ago. Because here's the one thing I do believe. People do change. People, change for the better. Because here's what I believe. Every single person who's ever been alive, they either said or done some fucked up shit in their life, and they learn the error of their ways and they change.
Agreed. I would definitely agree with that.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I have said and done some fucked up shit in my life, but I can honestly say I have changed for the better.
I very much agree with that. Hey, I've said fucked up shit too. I mean, it's like you said, we all have. I mean, really? Let's just take a step back. All these people cancel culture, and if I were to go look back in your freaking history of your life, or just go back to your high school years, how many people you think, if I were asked around, how many people think they would say you did something wrong? A lot. They just, you know what I mean? Like, no one's clean of that kind of stuff. They aren't. It's ignorant to think so. When you're young, you're dumb. That's
Right.
why young.
I know, it's just ridiculous. Like, some of the shit that people will be like, they'll be like, oh, so we did a little research on you, and it says right here, 15 years ago, you pushed a 10-year-old girl. Why did you do that? 15 years? I was 15 years ago.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And they'll still be like, well, that's not an excuse, so why did you do it?
You know what my response is again? Because, hey, don't you ever remember the females do that stuff too? You're mean to people you like when you're young. Like when you're 5 years old, you like someone, but you don't know how to freaking properly express it. So you kind of end up being a little bit of a dick.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, that's such a stupid thing to like. That's a good example though. That's so stupid. I was 5. I liked the girl, and I didn't know how to express it. So yeah, it turned into an argument. I shoved her. I'm sorry. I was 5. Sue me. Throw me into jail for freaking pleasure at 5 years old, please.
Right. But like, I don't know if you're like a type of person that watches YouTube, because I watch YouTube like a hell of a lot.
Oh, I do.
But have you ever heard of this YouTuber named Shane Dawson?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he got canceled big time because of all the racist, sexist, pedophilia things. And I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you know what? He did do those years ago, but when you actually watch the videos, it's like, oh shit, dude. I mean, you kind of took it too far.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing though. There's absolute different I can't talk. There's absolute differences between people who like still hold the same. You can be. It's like being proud of it still. You know what I mean? Like, or utilizing comments that would exemplify why those things that you haven't changed. You know? I mean, there are examples of people like that, but they're honestly far and few between. Like you said, most people do change, and most people do change for the better because there's consequences for every action. And when you're younger, you already have consequences. Like you think in that situation where you said earlier, you push kid. Okay, you push a kid. You probably got freaking detention or suspension or something to try to teach you not to do it again. Like, come on. If normally most people learn from that.
Right. But like, I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, I watched Shane's. I didn't see the racist part. I only started watching his videos, like I want to say 2 years ago when he started making conspiracy videos. You know, his eating videos. That's when I started getting into his videos. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, you know what? He did change. You know, he changed his content. He did learn the error of his ways, and he is a better person. But when you actually watch the videos, it's like, okay, this is actually really bad. And the shit that he did to these kids, it's like, I think to myself, if I have a kid and if Shane Dawson was gonna babysit my child, I would not let that happen, to be honest. Because
Oh,
some of the
I
videos
would.
he did with the kids, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And then that's one thing though. Like the pedophilic bullshit. Like that shit's a different story. Like there's reasons why people freaking are wary. Once you do that, I mean, you can change, but that's something that's like a permanent mark on your record. Like freaking even the freaking shit. Like so like the Eminem shit. I'll go back to that example. People are saying we're trying to cancel him because he used to freaking make comments about freaking shoving his girlfriend in fucking like the Stand song, shoving his fucking girlfriend thing and driving her off the fucking bridge or whatever, and
Mhm.
fucking all the fucking comments about his mom and bullshit. Well, if anyone pays attention to his life, like you're supposedly deep researching his life, right? So you would know that he didn't have the greatest childhood. Like, um, hmm. Of course he vented that out in some manner. At least he wasn't physically doing it. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Well, I just think, like, you know, because I seen like his music videos, and you know, I do pay attention to his songs. It's like you said, like, just because you know he sang about it or he made the videos of it, that doesn't mean he did it. He just probably thought of doing it, or you know what? I'm not gonna really say that he probably thought of it. It's just like we all have thoughts sometimes, and you know, we all go through shit in our minds, but you know, we end up stopping ourselves before we end up doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
And
it's like you have people, you know, freaking. Of course, like I mean, just because here's the thing, I hate freaking when a freaking man beats a woman, but like you really think freaking it's been the opposite way too. There's plenty of times when a woman will sit there and think about swinging on a dude. Sometimes for stupid shit. Same thing happens fucking with dudes. Like we're not fucking we're not perfect. We get angry in the moment. Does that mean we should do it? No. But does the thought run through most people's heads if someone pushes the wrong button? Of course. You know, like it's in our nature to be defensive. Like humans are one of the most defensive people on the earth, and it goes, you know, into the aspect of adaptability. Adaptability equates to change. So like over time, you know, our natures become more fleshed out, and we evolve to become who we are as, you know, in the future. And it's an ever going process. We're gonna change until we're dead.
right. And you know, if you actually pay attention to his music, not only is there a story, but there's like some truth into it. Like right now, I'm trying to find the one song where he says a line of, I'm trying to find it right now, but there's a song, and it involves about school shootings. And people, whenever there's a school shootings, people will blame music, video games, TV shows. Like they blame all these things, and they
The
say
gun
that's the
itself.
reason why That's the reason why there's school shootings. But in one of Eminem's songs, he basically said that there was a kid who's being bullied every single day for who knows how long until, he finally snapped, grabs a gun, and starts killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And in the song, he does explain that too. He's like, and all y'all want to blame music or TV, but it's like, where's the parents? Where were the parents at? Where were the teachers at?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that goes in. I'll even take that a step farther. So I'm a vet. So like, I have certain opinions about certain things, and one, in those situations, it's not even the gun that's killing people. A gun is a tool. It's wielded by someone. So it's not even that the gun is dangerous. It's the person who wields it. So you're saying there, you got all these people, trying to ban certain guns or whatever, but like realistically, I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, they teach you very specifically, you don't even point a gun at anything you don't intend to shoot. And that's the thing, that's intend, meaning we have to make a choice, So like, if people looked at it even more from that perspective, it's like, we're blaming a hunk of metal for something. Like, here's what happens when you take away guns. That's when we revert back to the Middle Ages and we start having people freaking sliced up in the streets regularly. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Take away guns, then you get more brutal fucking killings. Like, it sucks, and I hate to see, it happen and the situation that happened, but I'm not going to sit there and act like freaking taking away the gun's going to take away the problem. If someone's physically fit and capable enough, they could go into a school with a sword and freaking take out freaking 100 people.
Right.
You could go in with a freaking fork. I mean, there's a dude in the Marine Corps who freaking literally took out like, I can't even remember freaking how many people, but like, it was a crap ton of fucking people with a fucking fork. Like, come on. Like we're that's just my opinion, though. Of course, I mean, I understand that people can be scared of something either they don't understand or they don't have knowledge in use. So they don't think about blaming the person. They think about blaming the object because it took life really quickly. Oh, okay. But
right.
As I just mentioned, it can be taken easily from any other method too.
Right. There was this episode of American Dad. I don't know if you're into shows like that.
Oh yeah.
But the first season, he has a daughter and she's like anti-gun and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes off telling his dad or her dad saying like, guns kill people. And the dad's like, oh, is that right? Then he pulls out his gun, puts it on the table. Like, okay, gun, kill somebody. No, go ahead, kill somebody. Don't be shy.
Yep, absolutely. Like, that's a perfect example for you to sit there and get, like, how's the gun killing anyone? Like, it's the person. It's there ain't no gun in this planet that has been the reason why someone's killed. No. Sure, it may have been the tool used in the execution, but it wasn't the will or the freaking. It didn't have a mind of its own and just float in the air and just be like boom, boom. No, there was someone's hand attached to that gun pulling the trigger. That's a person, a people problem, not a tool problem with any sort of tool. But anyway.
Like, I haven't really shot anyone, and I do hope that I will never have to shoot somebody. But it's like, if it has to come to it, then I will have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, because I'm not saying we need guns, or per se we don't need guns, but it's like, it is a good defense, especially when it comes to, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but especially when it comes to females, a female should be able to carry a gun because there's just sick people out there. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a female. There's just fucking sick people out there.
Mm-hmm. And we should have every right to have whatever means necessary to deal with a situation like that and defend ourselves and our life. And even deeper than that, defend our children's lives in the most efficient manner possible. That a gun can mean the freaking difference between life and death. Let's say you got someone breaks into your house and there's 2 or 3 poor dudes or whatever gender. It's not freaking pointed in that direction. It can be females or males freaking breaking your house. Well, one single person, unless you're really physically apt, you're not gonna be able to take out more than maybe 1 or 2 people on your own. That gun's the difference between you dying or you saving your family.
Right. That actually reminds me of, so this is not really new. This has like been happening for a year, I think I want to say. So there's a new kidnapping tactic, and it's actually females who are using this tactic. I don't know if you ever heard of this tactic, but I kind of want to say this so people are aware of this. So let's just say you as a man, right? You go to the store with your child. As you're going through the store, you're getting your things, and after you get your things, you're leaving. Out of completely nowhere, a female will walk up to you, try to grab your child, and she will start freaking out and be like, "This man is trying to take my child, this man is trying to steal." A lot of people are they're gonna end up attacking you. And as they're attacking you, that woman is gonna take your child away.
I'll give you an even crazier experience. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was in North Carolina, and it goes into even more ways of how they can use that. We were, walking around downtown in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it was late. We were gonna go. Me and a couple buddies. We were off of base. We were off for the weekend, and we were about to head to the club for a little bit and just enjoy ourselves. And we decided to go for a walk down to the pier. So we go down to the pier, and we hear crying. Like, mind you, it literally started once we got to the point. Like, we would have heard it if it had started. It got when we could get in her hearing distance. So when she could hear our footsteps on the freaking boardwalk, we heard her crying. We heard, we were like, all right, we should probably check this out. It's me and a couple of Marine Corps boys, and we freaking, walked up and asked if she was okay, and we were given a kind of sob story about what happened. And, we were like, well, do you need some help? Blah, 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 whatever. Well, we were going to, take her up the street and pay for her to get some food and freaking, get a phone or whatever. We start walking. And almost immediately after we start walking, me and my buddies, we were kind of paying attention to our surroundings, and down across, so there was like a little step up where you could step up from the beach down up onto the pier, and then like another 5 feet down, there's another little downward little step process where you could get down on that side of the pier. As soon as we start walking that way, this big dude comes freaking walking up that little step and starts following us. Follows us all the way up to the little main street in Wilmington. And the whole time, me and my buddy are kind of looking at each other like, does he really think he's that smart? And so we get to this little crosswalk, and I look back right behind me, and he's standing right behind me, and I look right down, and he has a gun pointed right behind us. And I looked at the girl, and she noticed that we noticed him. And she said, okay, I'm good. Don't worry about it. I can make my way from here. She noticed that we had seen what the plan was. And as soon as that happened, she canceled the whole freaking thing. she stopped the whole the process of what they were trying to do, and they were trying to jump us because we were going to the parking garage to freaking bring her up to freaking where we could buy her a phone and whatever. And she's like, "No, I'm good. Thank you so much." Blah blah blah. Oh. Oh my god. But yeah, freaking. It was an interesting experience, but
Right.
it just shows that, like you were saying, they can use a woman in that position to get a person's helpful nature going and walk you right into a trap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. We just reached our point, so this has actually been a really great experience, and
Absolutely, brother.
and I honestly do hope we get to do another podcast soon. I was telling Red Gritter that I noticed that I can add people, and I was telling him how like I could add him and you, and all three of us could be doing a podcast together.
I would be down. I'd absolutely be down, man. Whenever, if you ever need, someone to come on, I'd be happy to.
All right, sounds good. I really do appreciate this, and I look forward to our next podcasting.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Chill.
Not doing too bad.
All right, great. I really appreciate you coming by. I'm really